Perfect. So welcome, one, all, and everyone to day one of Summerfest.
Woo.
Opening ceremonies was phenomenal. Let's just be honest. If you didn't see the video, that is on YouTube. Welcome to our first panel. And our first panel is actually going to be a pretty big one because we're kind of just jumping right into it and tackling real things that really happen in real life, really. So, diversity at its core is the name, and we've got some people here ready to talk about their experiences with core, diversity in the cosplay community, thank you, yes, Black Panther necklace, all of the other things. I'm going to be hosting. My name is Shellen, for those of you that don't know. For the people that I have not had the pleasure of meeting, I played our class rep Ida in Boku no Hero, and I played Shikamaru Nara in Across the Multiverse, and I played Natsu Dragneel in Across the Multiverse. And I'd like to throw it to our lovely panelists to introduce themselves and tell you a little bit about themselves. So if I could.
Hi, everybody. My name is Sonali. I am the co-founder and current artistic director of the Core, and I recently played Jiro, but before that I played Kaminari, so both sides of the ship.
Hi, I'm NJ. I was in the Across the Multiverse, the first one. I played Lucy, and I played Yue, and right now I'm just the production manager on Core.
Hi, I'm Trini. I played Toru Hakagure in the My Hero set and Tomura Shigaraki. And then in Across the Multiverse, I was Tamari.
Hello, everybody. My name's Kohki. For those who saw earlier, I'm the one who hates vegetables. But in Plus Ultra, I played Mashirao Ojiro. And in ATM, I played Prince Edimian. I think that's how you say his name. I also played Kyo from Fruit Basket, as well as Neji. So yeah.
Beautiful. Thank you, guys. And those are our lovely panelists. Before we get started, I love this clap. That makes me so happy. Before we get started, we do have some new people, new to the team, new to the company, new to the Core. So I would like to give a little bit of a kind of description of what we do, just in case you haven't heard much about us and this is your first time tuning in. So Core was actually founded in 2013 by Sonali and Kayla. They broke off from just industry dance and things, and they created this entire beast of an entity for people who loved nerdy things, loved comics, loved anime fandoms and all of those things. And they gathered a bunch of their friends and said, hey, you want to do a thing? And of course, us being their friends said, yeah, let's do it, because support is good. And it kind of just grew from there into what it is you see today over the span of several years. One of the biggest things about those two as leaders is that they've always had a really, really strong and solid push for things like inclusion, diversity, and that's not just for race and ethnicity, that's for preference of gender, that's for identity, that's for all of those things. And that is why this panel is important, especially in the climate of things happening in the world right now. So that is a brief overview of the conglomerate that is Core, what they believe, and what we believe, and why this is also important. That's Core's stance on diversity. We are inclusive and for everyone, and we do all of the things for all of the people because cosplay, dance, and all of those things are for everyone. Couldn't have said it better myself, so I won't. And I'm gonna actually ask our panelists if they could give me their definition of diversity and how exactly do you uphold, I guess, the commitment to honor the uniqueness of each individual, like when it comes to Core. So if I could, I would like to start with Sonali.
Yeah, I think diversity to me is making sure that everybody has a seat at the table and that we're not limiting people based on what they believe, what they look like, what their sexuality is. And I feel that the best way that we execute that is to use inclusivity, because one of our former Coresmen, Kim Benton, she explained it perfectly. She said that diversity is the what and inclusivity is the how. So by including everyone, not just because, you know, we have to, because we genuinely want a diverse atmosphere, we use inclusivity to get to diversity. Yeah.
Beautiful. Thank you, Sonali. Trini, would you like to chime in, please?
Yeah, for me, diversity is being able to surround myself with people from all walks of life, religion, gender, everything, etc. And also being able to push my beliefs in order to see that more in mainstream media and pop culture, especially cosplay and the cosplay community.
Thanks, Trini. Kohki, please.
Yeah. They pretty much said a lot. Diversity is it's just being accepting of anybody as how they come, and understanding where they're coming from and their point of view. And that's something that I, as a human, learn to listen and understand their, like, who they are as a person. And even though sometimes I won't understand, or like I don't, because I'm not that person, I can't understand, but I would love to know, if that makes sense. So it's just being able to really take time to like find something different about someone and really understanding and learning from that person and accepting that. Yeah.
Well, thank you. And NJ.
Diversity to me is knowing that everyone is unique and that everyone has something to offer, and that when you surround yourselves, you have respect for each other's cultures, shapes, sizes, race, anything. And on Core, we like to ask each other questions, and we like to educate ourselves on everyone's culture and backgrounds. Like, for example, when I first met Mama, like, I learned that she was Sri Lankan, which is like so much different than, like Indian. And so I got to learn more about her culture, which I really like doing. And yeah, we like to educate ourselves on Core, and I love that about us.
Beautiful. And actually, NJ and Kohki, you guys have been on Core probably the longest, save for, of course, Sonali. So how do you feel so far, like in Encore, that you've contributed to diversity and representation in the cosplay community, just because you guys have been doing this for a really long time with Core?
Yeah. NJ, you want to go first since you've done it longer than me?
I know that on Core we've evolved so much. It started when, we've always been diverse from the very beginning with the dancers that Kayla and Sonali chose for us. But also, I really enjoyed when we learned about each other's like cultures, like when we did the Bollywood set. Like, I had no idea about that dance. I knew some things, but we got to delve deep into it. And excuse me, I cracked. And same with Kohki. When Kohki, he always corrects me on like saying Japanese names, like, because that's the thing. You want to say your names correctly. They say you get a name for a reason. People, and like, say it proudly. Say your name proudly. You don't want people to butcher your name. So Kohki always like corrects me, and I really appreciate that. And with Core, like we're always doing it. I think recently before quarantine, we actually we had a plan for another set, and I don't know if I could say this because only the patrons know, so I'm not gonna, or the patrons know, so I'm not gonna say it. Okay, I'll cut there. I'm sorry, but we are learning other cultures for our future set, so just so you know that.
Yeah. Same with me. For me, being on Core for so long, it's really made me embrace who I am as not only a dancer, but as how I identify myself as. I do identify myself as a gay Asian American. And I know in the cosplay community, even a lot of you comrades here identify somewhat in the LGBTQI ZXWVUT plus community. There's so many letters, but I want to be able to hold a really good representation of that and show that it's okay to be who you are, and you're going to be accepted anywhere you go. Well, not anywhere you go, because there are people who still who are still against a lot of those things, but just know Core is a safe place for our comrades, and we love to have you here. We love any type of race, gender, identity, however you describe yourself. If you're an Aquarius, if you're an alien, we love that, you know, like we love having all sorts of diversity here. And yeah, I just, for the long time, I've always like hid the fact that I was a gay person, but being on Core, being more involved around gay people, I felt very more comfortable and just being able to be who I am. So Core has helped me do that, and it's just grown among the years that I've been on. So yeah.
That's crazy to hear, just because that means Core's been doing it since before we even knew what to call our comrades. Like, that's been happening from the jump, for lack of a better word. But speaking of comrades, Trini, you joined Core from being a comrade and transitioned into being a Coresman, and super strong as an envy, and just anything you do, you kill it. So what's that transition like? Like, what's the perspective from seeing diverse representation on Core from an audience perspective, like a comrade perspective, to being able to experience it and represent it firsthand on stage?
Yeah, from an audience perspective, it's always great to see people who look like you play characters that you yourself may not have considered before because of the way that you look. And it's kind of like that unspoken permission for people to be like, hey, if she can do that, I can do that, so I'm gonna do it. So it's, from like an audience perspective, that's kind of like the way I saw Core. And fortunately for me, transitioning to this diverse cast of dancers, I have fortunately always been a part of diverse groups and diverse dance teams. And I noticed that that's fortunate enough, because I know that especially among studio teams, that's not always the case, especially when I was doing studio competitions with my diverse team, who were very exceptional in hip hop and street styles. Doing a crump set at Starstruck was very out of the norm, and we got some looks. So like, it's great to be able to not get those looks anymore and just be accepting and being around more diversity. Yeah.
Beautiful. Thank you, Trini. It helps that Core kind of creates an environment where it really doesn't matter what you look like, what you bring to the table, as long as you love what you do and you're ready to work and you're ready to really commit to whichever character that, you know, Kohki and Sonali pick out for us. And that's kind of always been the case, because a lot of us don't look like our characters, but once we start a set, like who could you tell is not their character? Like, I can't watch a single episode of Boku no Hero without seeing all of your faces in all of the places, which is phenomenal. And it feels good to know that that's the kind of thing that we have going from top down. And since I have you here, Ray, who I always call Ray for reasons, Core's never really casted based on ethnicity and gender. Kayla was Todoroki, like, come on. But rather, they've always done things and based on like what a company member can bring to the table and how they portray their character through acting and dance and things like that. That's a really specific inclusivity model. And I mean, what's your favorite aspect of it?
My favorite aspect is that it's not that we are colorblind, but we are open to anyone portraying a character so long as they are able to. And it all comes down to what they bring to the table as far as dance goes, as far as acting. As you said, we look at all of that, and we also show a deep appreciation for anything that we take on culturally. We do so much research. We kind of pour ourselves into it, and we learn as much as we can, just because appropriation is a fine line, and we never want to do that, especially because the patrons know, so I won't say it, but the set that we were planning on doing was very heavily based on a culture that we are not ourselves, a lot of us are not ourselves a part of. So we we always make sure that we're referencing the people that know more than we do, that we research, and that's the most we can do, you know?
Beautiful. And that couldn't have been more well said. And that's always been the case. It's always been a matter of, hey, everyone, we're going to line up on one side of the room and move, and then we'll let you know how things go. Which is kind of the most amazing thing, because that's how you get people into cosplays in situations where, you know, maybe if they didn't feel confident cosplaying, it just reiterates the idea and the concept that cosplay is for everyone, that dance is for everyone. And I love that for us. NJ, actually, you do a lot of dancing, and you've done a lot of dancing for a very long time. I know that you and Eddie, when he is around, do all the ballroom things and literally everything else. So with such a diverse repertoire of dance outside of just cosplay and dance, have you ever had an experience, I guess more specifically in the cosplay community, but I mean, of course, outside of at all, where you were kind of met someone that wasn't really receptive to diversity, or what I guess you brought to the table? And if you did, how did you handle it?
Fortunately for me, I personally have not experienced anything negative, but I have witnessed a lot of negative. On the side of core, I also do a lot of aerial arts with pole, silks, hammock, lyra. I am in the plus size community, and we have a group for plus size aerialists. And it's so sad to see a lot of plus size people saying, oh, my instructor won't teach me because they say I'm over the weight requirement. I can't do this because I can't get my body weight up. And it's very sad to see, because everyone's beautiful, like no matter like shapes, size, and I see everyone working hard, and it sucks that, you know, instructors like don't see that. And I've heard people like say negative comments about people's sizes in cosplay as well. And we always fight for those saying cosplay is for everyone. Cosplay is for everyone. Let that soak in. And we witnessed, we got to, and it was sad that we got to also witness something against you, Shell, when that backlash with Ida, because you were not the same color as him, and we all like went bloody murder on that comment, because cosplay is for everyone. And you're the most amazing class rep, Shell.
I'm crying in the club right now. Thank you, NJ. That does mean a lot, of course, coming from you guys, but that's what I'm talking about. Like, especially for people that you care about, or just anyone at all, making them feel comfortable in their cosplay is the same thing as making someone feel comfortable in their own skin. You know, they didn't ask to love the things they do, but they love it. And why shouldn't they get to show how much they love it by really, really, really dressing up and learning about the character and the culture and everything else? So thank you, NJ. There we are. So as far as that goes, I mean, I could of course speak on it from my perspective, but Kohki being, you know, actually Japanese, a lot of cosplay, of course, comes from that area, that region. And to see people being so gung-ho about like your culture and things of that nature and everything else, I guess, what advice would you have for comrades that are dealing with things like that when it comes to bringing diversity and being diverse in the cosplay community? Just because it's one thing for people to say cosplays for everyone, but for people that have to watch their culture and things of that nature being presented in X amount of ways, like what is, I guess, the most natural response for diversity in that community? And how would
cosplay is for everyone. It's not a question. It shouldn't have to be a question, honestly. Even from a Japanese person's perspective, like they should be seeing it too. Like cosplay is for everyone. If you're gonna like be mad at someone for cosplaying, and like for example, like when someone came at you for like being Ida because you're black, I'm like, but wait, you're not Japanese, so does that mean you can't cosplay as any anime character? Because technically, they're all Japanese, except for like animes like Full Metal Alchemist, where they're technically not Japanese, but they're speaking Japanese. But whatever. Still, like, you can't come for anyone saying like your skin tone doesn't match this character. So what? They still embody that character. They still represent who they are as that character, and they look good as it at it. Yes, words. But that's how I feel, and it shouldn't have to be even a question when it comes to you shouldn't be this person, because you don't have the right to say you shouldn't be this person because you don't know that person, first of all. So point blank period. But if you're dealing with anything like who you are as a person, I'd say find a group of friends or a group of people who you relate to and who will support you no matter what, and stick with it and stick with them. Like, even if you're at a con and you feel like very uncomfortable, don't go around by yourself. Major one thing. So like, people will come at you. It's happened a lot on Core 2, unfortunately. So we make sure that we're surrounded by people who can back you up in how you identify as yourself. And if someone comes for you, you have your support group saying, hey, wait, you don't know who this person is, so go away, like shoo, call for help. I don't know. But just stay strong and know that there's so many people who do care for you, who do love you, and who do support you. And that's why Core is here, to show that we are here for you and we support you and we love you.
Thank you, Kohki. And he's completely right. I think that having that level of support makes a really, really huge difference, especially because then you know that you're not speaking for it or by yourself. Yeah, you get people to lean on and depend on. And even in the weirdest situations, that can be just the boost you need to be able to really just know that it's going to be okay because people care about you. People love you. Well, thank you, Kohki. Trini and Sonali, I'm going to throw this next one to you. Have either of you ever had an experience where you met someone and they weren't really receptive to diversity? And were you able to change their mind? And how did that experience kind of change how you interacted with people with similar mindsets?
Trini, do you want to go first?
Yeah, sure. For me, fortunately myself, I haven't personally experienced anything against me in cosplay, whether, because I am Mexican, but I'm on a lighter skin complexion, and colorism is a thing. So, because I am lighter skin, I don't get as harassed as some of my darker skin counterparts. And I do get into, I do bump heads with people online and stuff like that. And more often than not, I can't change their minds. And I feel like the more I have these type of interactions, the more I can recognize whether or not this person even has the open mind or the capacity to be able and willing to learn from me. And there's only so much that I can do, because talking to these types of people, it is draining. It's exhausting. It's a lot of work mentally and honestly physically, because mental drainage affects you physically. And I feel like just having these conversations have taught me when to, just stop with this person and ignore that negativity, because they're not willing to learn. But there are people who are, and I commend those people who recognize that they are wrong and are open to learning. But for me, it's knowing when to stop.
I personally, again, as Trini said, I have never experienced any negativity in that regard, at least to the point where I can respond. There was one time, though, I remember it so vividly. Me and Kayla, my soulmate, were walking through Comic-Con. We spent the entire day together, and we were walking through Artist Alley, and someone passed me and said, I was dressed in Raven, she was dressed in Robin, and they said, an Indian Raven? Ugh. And kind of it didn't register at first, but I turned around and I kind of sat in it later on, and I just felt really icky because I didn't say something. And as long as I feel like we can get past the initial stop, like there are times where you should take it on, but as Trini said, there's times where you just kind of have to leave it alone. But knowing that there are people out there makes me even more motivated to educate them. And it's especially in the current climate that it's so important to do that and be willing to have those conversations, because we can't go immediately to canceling people just because they don't want to understand us. It is the act of giving up on a person that kind of lets them sit in those negative mindsets and continues to spread that negativity into the community. And you never know, if you say something to that person, then it might change their mind and they might take it on with them. So yeah, I really wish I had said something that day, because maybe I could have changed their mind. But I hope that, not that I hope it happens again, but if it does happen again, I hope that I can speak for myself, because I'm definitely ready and willing to jump as soon as someone says something horrible about anybody else. So I need to learn to do that for myself as well. But yeah.
What I really liked about that answer is that you mentioned not canceling people for the sake of them not having exposure to something, because that's why us doing the things that we did was important. That's why seeing a Sri Lankan Raven on stage, or Kayla that can be the best Robin that you ever did see, or a Todoroki, and then switch it up and be a Chihiro, like that kind of stuff matters. And maybe someone hasn't seen something like that before, but that's why Core does what it does, because the only way to get people to understand that that's okay is to put it in a place where everyone is normalizing it, because it's normal. There's nothing wrong with it. And it's hard to find, in some cases, people or things that look like you in anime or in drawings or things of that nature. I know that. So I guess this next one, I'll get to everyone. Why does representation matter? And what do you think we can do, I guess, just as individuals, as Core, to kind of facilitate more inclusivity and diversity within like our small cosplay community? Small.
I think as far as that, representation matters because the things that we do now affect our future. And as far as for me, I didn't have much of a Sri Lankan community in Santa Maria. When I was growing up, it was primarily white, and I didn't have a lot of people to look to, especially in our little dance bubble. I was pretty much the only person of color on the team at one point, and I wish I had more role models to look up to. So by putting ourselves out there and creating examples for people to follow and say, hey, that person looks like me, and they're overcoming the same obstacles that I'm facing right now, that means I can do it. So it gives people the confidence to rise up. And I covered that in our Champions of Diversity campaign on Instagram, and that's why Kamala Khan is, I love her so much. But I think that representation matters because our future matters, and we need to do everything we can to support it.
Thanks, Ray. Trini?
Yeah, like I said before about Core, seeing somebody up there who looks like you is that permission given to you that you can do it. You can be a superhero. You can do all of the things. Like, that's why it's important. And even in my Champions of Diversity, I chose Stefani and Garnet, and Steven Universe as a whole is a champion of the LGBTQ plus community, and it's a kids show. Speaking of the future, like had an episode called The Answer, where it's Ruby and Sapphire meeting and exploring their feelings for each other, that was converted into a children's book. So that's like an avenue for the future to see that it's okay to be gay, like as young as 5 years old. Like we need to teach at a young age.
Thank you, Trini. Kohki, if you will.
Yes. For me, like just it's such a strong topic for me because growing up for myself, I wasn't really surrounded by a lot of Asians. I grew up in a area that was predominantly Hispanic and African American. So I guess I had a ghetto side to me. That's not the correct vernacular, but I'm just gonna say that. Until I moved high schools completely out of my area and went to a very Asian populated high school until I realized, wow, like I'm slowly learning so much more about diversity and being surrounded by so many different ethnic cultures. It was very educating to me, and that's something that I feel like is very important to educate not only on your own diversity, not your own ethnicity, but other people's ethnicities as well. And it just shows you how much every person's worth is. And that's why when someone's worth is on the line, you fight for that worth and you understand that worth. So that's why I like best friend said, like the future is how we represent today is going to be a big representation on the future. So continuing to speak up our minds about what we believe in diversity and stuff will change the future. So hopefully we live in a world where we can all live as one big, happy, loving family, people, group. But yes, that.
Thank you, Kohki. NJ, if you could, please.
I'm going to kind of bounce off Trini's because she said it perfectly with how if you see someone like you on screen or on stage, that means like I can do that too. Because I actually I was blessed with a comment that I received a few years ago from a comrade. They told me like, wow, like being thick or plus size, you can do all these aerial things, and it makes me feel like I can be that strong too. It's like, no girl, you can be strong, just work hard. Like that's all what Core does, is we work hard and we educate and we do our best to just do anything we can do. And comments like that, like when I do feel down about myself sometimes, about my size, and yeah, I just had a baby, and so my body is not what it was before. So I do get down about like my size sometimes, but hearing comments like that comment will always put me back into a good place, because things like that is it brings me back my confidence that like, okay, this is why I do things. Like, you know, I can prove to people that I can do these things. And that's what Core does. They prove to the world, or they prove to YouTube conventions everywhere. They prove everywhere that, you know, we can have people like us, like of color, of size, of sexuality, like anything. So that's what I really appreciate about Core. And Core still does it, and we all do it on an individual level as well.
Thank you, NJ. And comrades out there, I hope you kind of took note. NJ just mentioned that something as simple as someone acknowledging and really seeing her cosplay or her do her thing, that makes all of the difference, all the world of difference. So if you feel like, you know, having those hard conversations and things of that nature is difficult, all you have to do is really just say to somebody, hey, your cosplay looks great. And that could make their day every day afterward. That could be a little spark. So all those little things, they really add up, guys. They add up, and gosh, they really do make a difference. You guys are already doing it, or folks are already doing it. I didn't have to say anything about me being Ida. I read all of the comments on the side. I was like, oh, I feel all the things. Ray, this one's a little different. I do want to take it back just a little bit, if I could, to your time being Raven.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm curious as to what it feels like, or what you think it would feel like now that you've experienced that, to don that cosplay again.
Oh, I would 100% do it every single day of my life. I would wear it to work, honestly, if it were Disney look. Catch me as Raven 24/7. I honestly, I would definitely like nip all of that negativity in the bud right away. Like, hey, this is me. This is what I'm doing. If you have a problem with it, take it to the bank. I don't care. Yeah, but I have also really underestimated the power of social media until Core kind of started building it up. And it's so crazy to me how many cosplayers of color there are, and how many don't get the recognition that they deserve. Mm-hmm. But there's so much there's so many accounts now that are like cosplay of color and wonderful world of cosplay that highlight those cosplayers of color. And I would love to do that more, like as far as my own account. Like I would love to highlight more people and be like, hey, this is me as Raven, this is Sai as Ida, Shellen as Ida. Sorry. this is all our coursemen. These are cosplayers in the community. Like I would love to say, hey, we're doing this. Cosplay is for everyone, and just shout it from the rooftops, because that's what it is.
Thank you, Ray.
Yeah.
And one more for all of you. Now that we've kind of talked about how cosplay is for everyone and how everyone gets the ability and the right to do whatever they want in whichever cosplay they would like, what are your guys' dream cosplays? What cosplays have you always wanted to put on and just, yes, don for the world to see? I'm sure that everyone wants to know. All of your faces love it. Kohki, you go first.
I got it. So, I've been wanting Core to do this for the longest time, just because there have been so many different versions of Sailor Scouts. I really wanted to see if they were open to the idea of having like a boy Sailor Scouts version. So like that's something I've always wanted to cosplay. Growing up with my sister, she loved Sailor Moon, and then I was surrounded by her friends who love Sailor Moon. It was only fitting for me to love Sailor Moon, even though I didn't really watch it. I just loved it. And see, there are signs back then telling me I was gay, but I just didn't read them. But I want to try to see if they're down to do like a gender bend cosplay of the Sailor Scouts.
Yes.
And that's something I've always wanted to do with Core.
That'd actually be really cool. Trini?
Ooh, dream cosplay personally would, I don't know, because no one knows this anime, but it's called Samurai Flamenco. And it's kind of like a parody on like superheroes. It's like super funny. It's about a supermodel who wants to become a superhero, and it first starts off with like petty crimes, like don't litter, don't loiter, like this is a no smoking area, like, and he'll beat people. Like it's so funny. But there's a girl, and it's kind of like
I'm ready.
waifu was ready for
And,
that.
and it's because she's so cute, and like she has this little scepter, but when she fights, this thing extends and it turns into like a mace, and it has spikes. And I would like dream-wise, I would love to be able to make that transform somehow, but I have no idea how. But core-wise, I want to do KDA still. I want
Yes.
KDA still.
Ooh. I think
If you do figure out how to do that staff transform thing,
I have to talk to Josh.
we have
That sounds
the one that Lauren used as Momo.
Oh, that one too.
it's perfect, right?
I think my personal dream cosplay it's like we did Ronin Scouts, but I want to do like a samurai version of Sailor Mars, like full on,
like armor.
Armor and everything. Like that's my dream as far as personal. Or okay, but also I would love to just wear Sammy's kimono as Miko, just to put it on my body. Just
Yes.
it's so good.
Best cosplay of ATM.
Okay, flawless. But I think I don't have any. We have a lot of things that I want to do for core that I cannot say because that was yesterday.
Because she's the director.
Yeah. So those are my goals. The future things that we're going to do are my cosplay goals for core. That's it.
I'm gonna go ahead and say that that Yuko kimono, I got to wear it when it was being made.
No, you did.
I will never post that footage. Which means my sister will probably. Yes, she has.
How about Patreon exclusive footage?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, enough of that. NJ, what about you?
Fun fact, I did my dream pregnancy cosplay already. Now, my dream pregnancy cosplay was a Sono from Kiki's Delivery Service when she was pregnant.
It's so
and
cute.
I got to do that with Edward last year for AX. But my dream non-pregnant cosplay has always been Sailor Pluto, because Sailor Pluto, because she's like a beast and she's gorgeous, and like I would love to have. I tried to grow my hair as long as hers, but I couldn't tame it. But also another dream cosplay is one of Cardcaptor Sakura's fighter outfits that her friend always makes for her. So I'm like, I don't know which one yet, but because she has so many cool fighting outfits, so let's see.
Your dream pregnancy cosplay was phenomenal. That
It was so cute.
It was so cute. I loved it. Post pictures of that. Don't post pictures of me in a kimono.
¿Por qué no los dos?
I also liked your Natsu and Happy. It was super cute.
I know.
Oh yeah, Nova is gonna grow up in cosplay.
Yeah, she is.
She doesn't get a choice.
Just like Lotus.
I know. He started with Metapod.
You right?
When he evolved.
Yes.
Well, thank you guys, panelists. That is the majority of what we have, and we do have some time, which means we get to hear from you guys, our comrades. So if you'd like to ask any of our panelists or myself, any of us, a question at all, go ahead and use the little raised hand feature. I believe you get to that by pushing participants.
Yes.
There's a little hand icon, and then we'll go ahead and call on you and give you some time. So I'll let you guys go ahead and do that if you have any questions at all for us. Beautiful. May we start with Galaxy A6? There's no name there. So if that is your name, that is a phenomenal name. That sounds so powerful.
I think you also have to give permission for us to unmute you. There we go.
Oh. She's muted again.
Uh-oh. Okay. Yay.
Oh, there we go.
Hello.
Hello.
Hey, first of all, you guys are amazing. What you guys say about being for people that gives me self-trust, and yeah, that's important. But yes, anyways, I I would like to ask, what is it like being part of a big dance group? Yeah, because yeah.
Would you like to take that one?
Who?
Trini.
Oh,
Yes.
me.
Mhm.
Honestly, I used to actually was on very small dance teams, and it was quite intimidating at first coming onto core because there was like 20 of us, and I'm usually on teams less than 15. So it was, and they also like tend to like feel on bigger teams I feel like I get lost in the crowd personally because I'm a little bit on, I don't know, especially when I join new teams, I'm quieter. But with core, Kayla, Sonali, and Sammy and all of board have done a great job of making everyone feel seen and heard, even though there is a lot of us. So yeah, it's different, but I like it.
That's awesome.
Thank you, Trini, and thank you so much for your question.
You're welcome. Have a nice day at Summerfest.
You too.
Love you.
Love you.
Can we go with Isabel?
Yes.
Hey.
Hi.
I was wondering, first off, I love you guys so much. And I was wondering, how many practices do you guys get before you actually like perform?
Ray, you take
I don't.
that.
Oh, I went this way. Okay. So great question. Actually, it kind of depends on what the timeline is that we have before the performance. Say we have like a small or a big performance coming up, which is like Anime Expo or a Comic-Con. We usually have a couple months, but we only practice maybe once or twice a week. So we are very, very, very efficient. Like it's crazy because a lot of the times during rehearsal, especially going into like con crunch time, it's no one sitting down. We're all just like, okay, what do we got to do? We got to review. We got to stretch. We got to drink water. Just it's so jam packed. But there are other times when we have small performances that maybe we have been asked last minute. We'll probably have like one rehearsal and then we jump into it and hope for the best. But it's nice because they're Encore. I can depend on everybody to be on the same wavelength and just get work done. It's great.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you so much for that question. That was great.
You're welcome. I'm like a part of like a really small, it's just ballet and tap and sometimes like jazz and hip hop. Yeah. But we practice throughout like from like school years. And then we actually like perform on like a stage and everything. It's nothing like y'all's. Like y'all's is way better, but we do a little bit of something.
Nice.
Still counts.
Definitely, like, send us videos if you want to share. We would love to see.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like my whole thing is like I would love to like do stuff like y'all do. I think it's so cool, and I'm just like, wow.
Honestly, me and Kayla just were like one day, hey, you want to do this? Sure. So if you want to do it, you should totally do it. Like it only takes that one step to just be like, I'm gonna go put in the work. Let's do it. And just going from there is kind of, it was, at least for us, it was like learn as we go kind of basis, so we didn't really have any examples to follow. So you kind of just, if you want to do it, throw yourself in, do it.
How did y'all, real quickly, how did y'all get as many people as you have now? Or did you just like slowly build up and contact people?
They're our friends, so they have to. But we invited, when we invited our first iteration of Core, it was all members that we had danced with before from all of our walks of life, like community teams that we danced with, cast members at Disney, just people that we knew and we loved to dance with. And it kind of just grew from there, and we actually had auditions a few years, and a lot of our beloved chorsmen joined us because they came to auditions, and others were forced, like, hey, here's an here's an application, congratulations, you're auditioning. So yeah, it's kind of a conglomerate of different experiences.
Okay.
Thank you so much for the questions. Those were really good questions. Cheers. Next up, let's hear from Queen Kitsune Cosplay. I like that name. Kitsune.
Hello again.
No.
I'm just everywhere. I'm popping up on y'all's screens everywhere. No, I'm just kidding. So I actually have a question for Trini and a question for the whole group. What was it like for Trini? What was it like to portray Envy going back into the FMA performance? Which, by the way, that performance was like so dope, and I enjoyed it. I was like, girl, I can't do all, like, what are you doing? And for the FMA performance for everybody, what was y'all's most favorite part in that performance?
Yeah, being Envy was awesome, honestly. When I was told we were going to do FMA, I wanted to be a homunculus so bad. I didn't care which one, but Envy is my favorite. So it made it better when I got casted as Envy. So yeah, it was just really fun to be creepy. Being a villain is very fun. And oh wait, my favorite part.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It's okay.
My favorite part is when I got to kill Rostin as Mayhew's.
Oh god. Me. That was the saddest part ever too.
Let's go NJ.
She's muted.
Oh.
Let me get you.
I would choose NJ when she cannot. That it would
There
be.
we go.
My favorite part of FMA was watching.
Oh yeah.
I got married that year, so I wasn't in that set. But it was probably my most favorite set of Core, other than last year. Because now it's like, oh my otaku, but FMA was my favorite set to watch.
Kohki?
Yes. I really loved the part where it was literally no dancing, but it was the whole talk. I don't know how to describe.
Oh, a scene where. I know what scene you're talking about.
Yeah. So we're just like, we all that part, we all had a line. So that was, it was just funny because you have to watch it like 10 times over and over to get every single joke, because you're laughing and you're laughing so hard that you're missing another joke. So you have to go back to watch it to hear that joke again, and it's just the greatest section of that whole thing because it's great. It's great.
My favorite part was when Rostin came back in and he's like, what do you mean? And then it's like, aren't you supposed to be dead?
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite scenes ever.
There were so many. And then when they said, oh, not that season of Crystal, Sailor Moon Crystal, ha 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 ha, that part was like, I died.
And then you have Nina, it's that whole thing.
Oh, and then the Nina. Oh, my God.
Oh.
But yes, that part was just great. I loved it. The whole like Jean Havoc dying and coming back and dying and coming back, that was great.
Yes.
Right?
I think, okay, I have two parts. One of my favorites was me chasing Juju with the non-existent big, what is that called?
Wrench.
I was supposed to have a wrench and I couldn't find it, so I just went, ah! Just attack him, just pretend.
It's so funny because LA has it in her hand
Yeah,
and
she
you
was
didn't
looking-
grab it.
She's like, okay.
Yeah, and then definitely Nina's scene in Medicine, because wow. But also putting that prop together was really, really uncomfortable because I painted that. I had to look at that for a long time. It was really not the business, but seeing it on stage was so funny. And I think I have one more, is Soulmate chasing Can as Lane. I just like back.
Yes.
I think the whole Medicine was just amazing.
Chef's kiss.
Chef's kiss. I guess my favorite scene or part from Full Metal would have had to have been peeling the armor off afterwards. No, I'm kidding.
I was gonna say that.
And though,
Yeah. Weirdly enough, my favorite part, I guess, off stage was running around to do my crossovers because I felt like a rhino. I just had a horn. I had to stare at the floor because I could only see from here down, kind of in front of me. So I was running around like this, and everyone's like, "Can he see?" And someone's like, "I don't think he can." Yes, I can. So that was off stage, but on stage, rewatching the performance, I think my favorite part was watching everyone do "What About Us." I feel like that is one of like the most just beautiful closers that I've had the opportunity to be a part of. It felt really nice. What's wrong, Ray?
Wait, Sai, what about the part during "Can't Keep My Hands to My..." He literally, wait, what was that piece called? I can't think of the name.
No, I think
I can't keep my Feel It Still. Thank you. I can never remember song titles, but during Feel It Still, I think I feel bad because it's not funny that Sai felt that way, but he kind of blacked out a little bit because he was getting hot, but he tried to execute a move, but he went and then he came right back, which was great because he was safe and he was fine, but it was just really funny if you don't know that context.
it's sad because it looks like minimal effort, but we know it was maximum effort.
Maximum effort, because y'all, he had that on the entire time. Like it's hot, and me and Amy had to hold fans during his one break in the set, like try to shove fans down the armor just to get him kind of cool. Props, Sai. Props.
It was a team effort. Everyone helped make him, and everyone helped keep him alive, because that was the year that it was 112 degrees outside.
Yes.
That was the year that I wore that cosplay, and then we had the performance, and that was the year that I did not show up the next day in cosplay. I didn't wear it until we had the performance the next day. So that was fun. Now looking back, now that it's finished, that is also one of my favorite memories. I just never admit it to anyone that isn't in this call right now. But yes, those are our favorite memories. Thank you so much.
That's no problem. Before I do get muted again, honestly, what you guys were saying about how we can cosplay who we want to be, I actually, the reason why I have actually listened to what you guys say is because I have dealt with that before. I'm a plus size cosplayer as myself, and I've had hate given to me, and it brought me down to situations that I just didn't want to cosplay for a little bit, and I was like, I don't know, and then I have my friends and you guys who are encouraging me to keep getting out there and being who I want to be cosplaying, making the character my own self, and I really appreciate that. And I actually, because of that, I'm actually going to get a tattoo of y'all's symbol that and also says Sorometo, to keep that in mind, to remind me of how much you guys have inspired me to keep going.
Oh my
Thank
god.
you so much.
Whoa.
Wow.
Like I'm gonna get the tattoo like put right on this arm. Like I have 2 tattoos, but I want to get one tattoo up here, and it's gonna be our symbol, and it's gonna say Sorometo on it.
You are literally amazing.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow. Oh my god. And
Just wait till you guys meet me in person one day. I'm gonna be even more amazing then.
and I can't wait to see all of your future cosplays.
Yeah.
I am so ready. They like just, dude, I am so excited.
I actually want to cosplay Envy, but my chest is so big, so I'm doing a thin version of Envy.
Nice.
Yes, you
For everyone.
better.
So.
When you do, let us know. Let us know.
Oh,
Make sure you
definitely.
tell-
She's Envy's actually going to be like maybe 2021, 22 cosplay. I just got to save up because I'm planning to go to Australia for 3 weeks in 2022 to see a friend.
Yes.
Well, let us know. Please let us know. And especially when you get the tattoo, let us know.
Oh, yes. I'm actually going to try to schedule one in the next couple weeks or so before we possibly get shut down again, because I live in Texas and our cases are spiking bad. And I'm like, y'all, wear the mask. We wouldn't be in the situation in the first place. And I'm like,
Literally. Oh my.
like our Japanese festival got canceled, and I'm so mad. So
Yeah.
Hopefully that all of that gets handled.
yeah, I'm missing con season. I really am. I'm missing it. I miss it so.
Spending the time with us then, because this is great.
And Shellen, you're amazing, by the way. We all love you. We all love
Thank you.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Stay safe out there.
I will. I'll let y'all know when I get the tattoo.
Yes.
Yay. Thank you.
May
Hey,
we
Foxy.
hear from Marshall?
Yes.
Marshall's my favorite Animal Crossing villager.
True. But is it next week for
Hello.
questions?
Can you say that one more time?
Is it okay if I ask 3 quick questions?
Of course.
Okay. Would you ever go to a convention in the East Coast, like KatsuCon in Maryland?
Honestly, we would love to do any con anywhere. That is our goal. But unfortunately, we're kind of limited because we don't really have the means to like pay to travel and go places, but we're hoping that like soon we'll be able to travel and do all that. So we will definitely keep you updated. I promise it's not super far off, but
It's a goal of ours.
yes. So hopefully soon we'll see you in person.
Another question is, would you ever cosplay from Marvel? And if so, who?
Oh, well, we had our Avengers set at Comic-Con. We've done everyone. Well,
Almost everyone.
almost everyone. We did many, but if I had to do, because I was Iron Man, if I had to do another one, or well, I was Iron Man and Black Widow at one point. If I had to do another one, I would love, I know big is Shuri, but I would love to do Shuri because she's my idol. She's goals. What about everybody else?
I did Doctor Strange for the Comic-Con, but if I were to do my own, I would be what's her name? Hera from Ragnarok. She gave me
she's epic.
She gave me so much life. Like she puts on her helmet like this. I'm like,
Yes.
queen.
Kohki, what
I
about you?
was Hawkeye for our first Marvel one, but I think and then I was walking around as Thanos with you guys last year. But my dream one would probably be Bucky Barnes, like a female version. But I want that arm.
I was not in that set, so I didn't get a Marvel character. But my favorite Avenger is Hawkeye, so that's one of the characters I would have definitely wanted to cosplay as.
I think I'm on my 4th version of T'Challa now. So I'll go with someone else. And I can't say Killmonger because I did that too. I think I would cosplay Captain America.
Yes.
Nice.
Captain America. That would be a fun one to do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that would be a really fun one to do. Something about having a giant shield that like just you can duck behind that covers you. That part.
And the last question is, as someone with disabilities and in the LGBT community, how do you, for those who are in it and those who have disabilities, how do you handle being in the cosplay community?
Ooh, this would be a good question for Rio.
Yeah.
Wait, can you repeat that one more time? I didn't hear, or someone say it one more time.
For someone that has disabilities and cosplays and in the LGBT community, how do you handle like backlash or anything like that?
Oh, for me, I would say, like I said a little bit earlier, find your group, and really have a very strong support system behind you, and just know that no matter what happens to you, you know you can always turn to them, and if anything, you can always turn to us too, because we are now part of your support group. So just if that ever happens to you, we're here for you, you know? So just find that support group.
I
Having your tribe is really, really important, especially in those situations. I can't fully speak on having disability, but I do know that in really any situation I've ever been in, if I wanted to go fast, I'd go by myself, and if I wanted to go far, I'd go with people. And going with people has made all the world of a difference. So knowing that you have support, and you're going to have support from us if you ever feel like, oh, I don't know if I should wear this cosplay for any of those reasons, any of those things, you should wear the cosplay, because we all think you should. And you don't even have to ask us if we think you should, but you can, and we'll still tell you you should.
Yeah, I actually met a comrade a couple years back who was actually deaf, and I also found out that they were also a dancer. They go by Tyler Lark on Instagram, and they actually do a lot of TED Talks too about being deaf and a dancer as well.
Wow.
And like, yeah, I've became friends with them. They're actually really good with information about stuff like that. So yeah, just from them, I've learned that they haven't let their disability stop them from dancing, which requires hearing music. It's unbelievable. Like, you can do anything.
Thank you for those questions. Those were really, really insightful questions.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Welcome.
May we hear from Sarah?
Hi.
Hi.
Hi, Sarah.
Please from my window so I look like a giant shadow right now. But I asked this question to Liz on Tuesday night, and now I'll ask all of you. When imagine that coronavirus is gone and the world isn't trying to kill itself anymore, and money is not an issue, and you get to take Core on a week trip wherever you want. Where are you going?
I think Liz answered it correctly. Japan. For me, anyway.
I heard someone say no, but it is a little selfish of me. But I would really want to take Core to Sri Lanka.
Ooh.
One, because I haven't been since I was 16, and now I'm 30, right? Yes, 30.
What?
So it's been a long time, and my parents actually left Sri Lanka because they were trying to get away from the civil war. So we only have gone, I think, I've only gone 3 times in my life, and they've gone a few times without me. But I would love to take court for my first time back, because that would just having people that are close to me, going back to experience something unfamiliar and exposing core to like the culture there. And my parents have been like, hey, you should take them to go dance out there. And I'm like, yeah, absolutely. Because I've seen there are dance shows out there too, and the dance community is very small because Sri Lanka is very small. But it would be nice to, share what we have and what we've built. That's me.
Trine?
I said Japan. That's me.
Mhm.
Japan or like South Korea, because One Mill Dance Studio, and it would be fun to take a class with Korsman over there.
Nice. Cokes?
I've been to Japan lots of times. I love going to Japan. I think going to Japan with Core would be great. But selfishly, if I'm going to talk selfishly, I would love to go to Europe, just backpacking around Europe, because I've never been to Europe, and I want to. I love Italian food, as long as there's no vegetables. I love, but yes, Europe. I would love to just dance with everyone in Europe, and I know there's some comrades out in Europe as well. So backpacking all around Europe, Italy, Greece. Oh, Greece. I want to go to Greece.
Yo, Italy is great. I was in Italy for 3 weeks a couple years ago on a pre-med shadowing.
Ooh.
Ooh, come on, Sarah.
But yes, Europe, all of Europe.
Thank you, Koki. Enja? Sorry, NJ.
Yeah. Kohki, I hear there's moths in Europe. I'm just kidding.
Oh, never mind. No, I'm just kidding.
There's moths everywhere.
I know, there's moths everywhere.
Right behind you.
I think I'd want to go to the Philippines, because I've never been to the Philippines, and there's a good amount of us that are Filipino, and I know there's cosplayers everywhere, but there's a lot of I've seen the convention pictures in the Philippines. But also, I want to go to Australia too, because I've heard, and I want to mostly because I want to see how we all react to all the bugs there.
I was like, I would never go to Australia because of the spiders.
I know, I want to see all of our reactions.
Nope. They have a lot of nope ropes there.
Mhm.
What about you, Shellen?
I would actually selfishly take Core to Guyana. For those that don't know what that is, I'm Guyanese. That is where my family is from. So I'm West Indian mixed with a little bit of Chinese, etc. A lot of different things. The culture there is so eclectic. It's comprised of 6 different ethnicities, ethnic groups, of course, a lot of colonization, all of those things. But my grandmother actually passed a couple of years back, and she was buried there. I haven't ever been, and I wanted to go for so long, but when she was alive, I would send her videos of what my team was doing and what my company was doing and what I was doing, and she was always really excited to that live. How did that happen? I know. Yes.
Oh, there we go.
Thank you.
Thanks so much
Thank you
for
for that
hosting.
question.
Great.
Thank you for that question, Sarah. So there's a lot more places than just Japan. I'm proud of us, guys.
But I'm a weeb.
It's okay, Trini. We love that for all of us. Let's hear from Aldana.
Hello.
Hi.
Oh, cute.
I like your shirt.
Moves?
Yes.
Oh,
Flip your flipsies. We do not sponsor
About
that.
them in South Korea. So I have a few questions. One is, what is your favorite part of any performance you did?
Oh, there were a lot.
Rapid fire, NJ.
Oh crap! I guess my favorite performance that I did was when I played Kagura for the anime medley set, and I got to point my fan at people like Moroku, Shellen. I just like pointing the fan at people.
Kohki.
Oh no. I think I'm gonna say I really enjoyed playing Connie in everything that he was. Just period.
And Ray.
Okay. Watching, at least most recently, watching ATM, the Sailor Moon duet, just like, okay, yes, I was struggling on the side to get my costume on, but then when I was able to watch, just it was beautiful. It was so beautiful. And we all got really emotional during rehearsals watching it, and then I was getting emotional again, and I was like, I've seen this so many times. It's so beautiful. So I think that's my favorite.
For me, my favorite part of performances are the little moments I have with my dancers. They're like, for ATM, there's a moment where I walk on. Oh, Eddie was actually late, and I walked on without him, and then he walked on, and then I noticed he's not wearing a wig, and then I look at him, and I was like, "Where's your wig?" And he's like, "It broke," and I'm like, "Oh my god!" And this is happening on stage. And then there's like another moment where I jump on the platform and I say hi to Justine, and then I just go away. I like the little moments where I get to talk with my dancers on stage.
Yes.
I think my favorite moment on stage is a toss-up between the end of Boku no Hero when we hit that final hero pose on the last time that we did it, because it just felt good. Like, it felt phenomenal to be up there with people who love the same thing and who you put in the work with, and nobody got hurt in the middle of anything. It was just a really good feeling. It felt like the culmination of summer camp, basically, like of pro hero training, of working out, working hard, working on everything. Like that was about on par with how I felt when we did the Stan Lee memorial performance.
Oh.
That one hit different. For those of you that don't know, Core was able to put together a group of people, and we did an Avengers set for Stanley's memorial at the Chinese Theater in Los Angeles when he passed, and man.
Right when you said that, I felt it.
Yeah, it's the dream. It's the dream to be able to perform for the man himself, and it was unfortunate that we had to be there under those circumstances, but it was so humbling to be able to be there at all to do any of those things, even for that reason. So that one, yeah, that one hit different.
Yeah, I remember when we first heard when Kayla made the mix, and then when it was Stanley talking, I remember all of us at rehearsal were like, oh.
Yeah.
The feels.
You're not crying, I'm crying.
Oh, there was definitely tears. I'm not even gonna lie. Did you have one more question?
Yes. Would you ever go to America Got Talent?
We actually auditioned one year. But I don't know if we'd go again. I feel like it's not really our realm, because like the cosplay community is what we've built ourselves in and around, and I don't see us going that way. I can't speak for soulmate. But that's me. I don't think so. Yeah.
Yeah, I've actually not with Core, but I auditioned for America's Got Talent with another dance team actually twice when I was I think I was like 13. It was when I was with like a dance team called Pretty in Pink, and then I auditioned again with Wild Ones. And with Wild Ones, it was like the audition before the TV audition.
Oh, wow.
Then we got the okay for the TV audition, but there was like they had given the okay to too many acts, and then they had to cut some, and so we were the ones that got cut.
Oh, dang.
Yeah, that was
Okay,
the closest.
Oh, fun fact, we each have danced on a stage that was World of Dance before it was on TV.
Yes, we have.
True. All of us.
Yeah, we all have been on different community teams, and it was like before our friends sold it to the TV network.
So yes, we have. Well, I mean, not America's Got Talent, but World of Dance.
Mm-hmm.
I completely forgot.
Thank you for your question. No, thank you.
What is your today?
Oh, yes!
Looks great.
ATM.
So
Yeah.
cute. I love it.
I love you all so much.
Thank you.
Love you, Aldana. Thank you.
I am terrified to do this because this person may know all of the things, but let's hear from Herbs.
Oh. Wait. Where is
Herbs.
she?
Oh, she's right there. She's
Wait,
on my
but her-
bottom. She's Core, Melissa.
Oh, there we go. Okay.
So my question,
Oh no.
what fictional character do you think represents you guys personally? It could be any fictional character.
That's so easy for Shellen.
Yeah.
Okay. Wait. I'll start. Do y'all remember Horton Hears a Who? And the little puffball, Katie, that goes, that's me, essentially.
What does she say? Like, I eat butterflies and poop rainbows?
Poop rainbows. And
yeah.
so
In my world?
I eat rainbows and poop butterflies.
Butterflies.
Yes.
That's what it
was. That's me.
This is a hard one.
I would probably pick Princess Star Butterfly because she is weird and out there, and so am I. And the theme song when they go "Good Time" is everything.
Yes!
It's great.
Oh man, I love stars.
I'm gonna say ditto.
Interesting.
I was not expecting these answers.
Because I can recreate anything, but not to the T. It's basically things with ditto faces.
Yes.
Like, that's my analogy. Like, I can recreate things,
So
but
good.
it'll have a ditto face.
Just.
I don't know. Oh.
I thought you were gonna pick a One Piece character.
You do.
No, I'm probably gonna say Shikamaru.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you are.
I feel like I'm Shikamaru. I'm very lazy, but when I get things done, I get them done, and I do it top of the class.
Oh.
That's me, I think. And I love cloud watching.
Fine, I guess. I mean, I was Shikamaru, but
I know. Well, I wasn't on the. Well, when you got Shikamaru, I was taking a break. So.
Well, that was your fault.
Dang, the sass. I swear I had. Oh, I think honestly, somebody that I feel like I watched and I was like, that's me. That's my awkward. That's something I had to grow out of. Was Miles Morales, Into the Spider-Man. And it's to the point where I watched him sing to calm himself down. And if you know me, you know that I know all of the random songs. And that is how I go about my day is just that exactly. So
Yeah, like what?
I think Clarissa has footage of you doing that in high school.
No.
Yes.
Share.
Well, clearly, all of the footage of me doing all of the things is going to be Patreon exclusive footage.
Isn't there that one YouTube video too?
Stop.
It was Jaden. Jaden has the footage. Everyone go ask Jaden for the footage.
Leave my cousin out of this. With that being said, thank you for your question. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Herbs.
Thank you. And thank you guys. That is going to be all for the panel for today. We're going to wrap up the diversity panel and get ready for YeetCon. So tune in for that.
What time does that start again, Shellen?
Oh, that's a real solid question. YeetCon, if you're going to ask me when that starts, because it starts eventually when it starts. Starts at 3:30. So it's going to be 3:30 Pacific Standard Time, and it's going till about 5. For you, those of you that don't know, it's actually, I couldn't even tell you what's going to happen because I don't know what's going to happen. I'm terrified. I don't know what to expect, but it's going to be amazing, and you should absolutely tune in for that.
Buckle Yeet into the pool.
Yes, someone will absolutely be yeeted into the pool and things of that nature. If you... What? Oh. Yes, so join us again for that. If you do need the meeting code for that at all, it's going to be on our website, thecorpsdancecrew.com. We will see you all soon. Thank you all for tuning in. Thank you all for sharing. Thank you all for going through diversity at its core and for representing our comrades as well as our company and our team so well. We appreciate it so much. This has been fun. Signing out.
Are we going to call it out?
Also, sorry, YeetCon is on Instagram. I have just bye. And YouTube. We've got it on all of the things, Instagram and YouTube. But I do think we should call it out, absolutely, because it sounds like a good idea. So for those of you who don't know, because there are a few that don't, what we do when we call it out, we stick our hand out like this, and we're going to have all of the panelists do it. We're going to say, Sorumeito on 3. 1, 2, 3. You skip the beat, put your hand on your chest, you say, Sorumeito. And that is how we do our call out. This is our salute right over your heart. All right? Good practice. Let's try it for real this time. Ready? 5, 6, 7, 8.
Sorumeito on 3. 1, 2, 3.
No.
Sorumeito.
Oh my God.
So crazy.
Thank you for joining us, guys.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye. YeetCon. Hey, someone with those YeetCon.
See y'all.